Alright, so we're going to try this again. I don't know how many times I've tried recording this video because my phone keeps overheating now all of a sudden for some reason. But this is the temperature control project for terrariums, snakes, lizards, whatever. Probably could use it for other purposes too. Basically, it's a fancy overkill thermostat. And let's start with the basics. So, plugs in over here, short cable. Plugs into its 3-prong. Nice, beefy, explosion-proof outlet. Case isn't explosion proof, but the outlet is, so you're good to go on that. Alright, so we got here, we have temperature sensors with XLR jacks, 8 of them. And they're just 10-foot, waterproof with just some heat shrinking and a stainless steel casing, so I wouldn't necessarily submerge them, but a humidified environment, no problem. I have submerged them, but I probably wouldn't leave them submerged permanently. I don't know, I haven't tested it, maybe you could. And then 8 outputs. So what it is, 16 outlets, but 8 zones. So each pair is a zone. And that was just so you can plug more stuff in without having to use a splitter or whatnot. And then LEDs for each one let you know if they're on or off. Lit up is on, off is off, you know. And then over here, display. And it reads out all your zones. So A through H, 8 zones. This one right here, when it reads -196, that means it's not reading the sensor properly. And that one is this one right here. And that's, I got a loose wire in there I'm going to go fix, but I didn't want to wait to make the video. So you can see it on other ones too if I unplug a sensor. It goes to 196 because it's not reading it right. It's not reading a sensor. And you plug it back in. And it goes and reads the temperature. So every single zone has individual set points. You can see some of them are off because right now they're all set to 80 lower point and a 90 upper point. Some of them have not gone down to that 80 point to turn back on yet because it's kind of hot in here right now. You can see it's, 80, 82, 88, depends. Some of the sensors are under the light over there. So what we got over here, let's go through all the buttons. This is a on-off switch, but it's only for the microcontroller. It doesn't actually turn off power coming into the wall. That's constant. The only way to turn that off is to unplug the box. So just, that's not what this is for. This is for the microcontroller only. And this is a reset button also for the microcontroller only. If for whatever reason you wanted to reset it. Brings up a little splash screen. There you go. Reads all the sensors, turns them on and off. So these buttons down here, these are your navigation buttons. They're just 1, 2, 3, 4. You can push any of them, push them and hold them down, any of them to get into the menu. Gives you a little warning when you're in the menu. Whatever these outputs are set to won't change. It doesn't actually update anything in the menu. So if you go into the menu, make sure you leave the menu when you're done doing whatever you want, or else it won't update. It'll either stay on or stay off the whole time. So what you can do is button 1. This shows you all the set points in one screen, so you can look at them quickly. You can see they're all set to 80, 90, except for zone A. I have to 84, 88. And that was just to show quickly. If we back out, you push forward to back out. Grab the sensor plugged into 1. Hold it. Let it climb up. And when it hits 88, it'll shut down. You can see the LED in the corner of the screen there. See? There you go. And then when it comes back down to 84, it'll turn back on. And that's all adjustable. So we'll go to that menu next. Just hold down any button. Menu pops up. So button 1 was to show the set points. Button 2 is to change the set points. So let's go into there. And what you use button 1 to scroll down through each set point, and then you use buttons 2 and 3 to actually change the set point. And then at any time you can push button 4 to get out of it, so you don't have to go through all 16 if you don't want to. So just hold it for a second. Sometimes it'll pass it up a little bit, so that's why I did it. Went from the lower point to the upper point. There we go, lower point. Set to 84. So let's say you wanted this to be, I don't know, for whatever reason you want it to be 90. That's the point at which it'll turn back on. And then we go to the upper point. Hold it for a second. And so if it turns on at 90, maybe you want it to turn off at 100. There you go. And that's the zone A. It'll now turn on at 90 and turn off at 100. And it'll cycle like that. I recommend having some kind of gap. You don't want the numbers on top of each other, or else it'll just click on and off, oscillating. You want it to be a gap so it can heat up and cool down. But that's dependent on however you set it up. And you can go through all of them. You can do the B lower, the B upper, the C lower, the C upper, the D lower, D upper. You can go through all of them, set them however you want. So then we go to 3. We have some test functions in here. These really don't matter to you probably, but I'm going to leave them in here. So number 1 is serial LCD. That you have no use for at all. That was so I could print to the LCD. It was for testing purposes from the computer. So that's useless to you. Shift outputs though, maybe you'll have a use for it. When you go into this, what it does, you can get the whole thing in here. I get to focus maybe. There we go. You push button 1, it'll cycle through each output. And for whatever reason you might find that useful to manually turn them on. You can just, so we can go right back into it. And then you can manually turn on whichever one you want, independent of the sensors. Doesn't matter what the set points are, you can just force it on. But like I said before, the sensors won't be doing this. So if you have H on, then all these are off until you leave the menu. So just going to leave it. And then the third one, which may be useful, maybe not, it allows you to reset all the set points. So let's say you got all the set points, a whole bunch of random numbers, and you don't want to take the time to go through every 16 of them and change them or whatever. Really, this was just for me, so I could do it really quick. But you go to reset, and you push 1. It'll make all the lower points 80. It'll make all the upper points 90. Done. And that just mass resets everything. So basically, it's for me, so I didn't have to go and reset everything. You hit exit, and that's all the menu. And that's all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Yep. See, then it just updated and it turned them all on. Well, I'll only turn this one on. If you look, it's rather hot in here. They have to cycle down to below 80 to turn on now, because I just reset them to 80, 90. And you can actually see that if we go back into the menu. And show them all. They're all 80, 90 now. So you have to set them however you want to set them. If we go over the case itself, it's just a stainless steel. Well, not really stainless. It's aluminum, kind of cheapy, but it's a custom case for tools. You just have foam in it. Took it all out. Regular outlets, stuff like that. On the side here, it's got some little fans on it. I really don't think they're necessary. It hasn't got hot on me yet, but I had the fans laying around, so I figured why the hell not, better to be overkill, and it is what it is. Those are not programmed. They don't come on and off with temperature. They just run as soon as you plug the cord in, not when this is on. This can be off, but the fans, you see it here, you turn this off, and the fans are still running. The fans only turn off when you unplug the cord. There we go. All right. All the cords themselves, they're all the same length. They're all 10 foot. They're all supposedly waterproof, so they should be good. I had them in a bottle of water. They seem like they're waterproof. In here, I've got an extra cord just in case, and then I've got these extension cables. They got to go a little bit further for whatever reason. If we open the case up, take a look inside. This is one thing I would recommend not doing unless you absolutely have to. Don't open the case. Reason being is it's kind of a clusterfuck. and I'd rather not have anything break by opening and closing it all the time. I mean, if you have an issue and you got to open it, whatever, but for the most part, just leave it closed. Also, with all the relays and stuff, all these are live wall power that are not taped off or nothing. Same with all this. This is all live wall power, so you don't want to be sticking stuff in there and shocking yourself or whatever. All of it is. I actually got two power supplies because the microcontroller side and the relay board side are actually optically isolated, so that's kind of cool in my opinion. It just uses a regular SparkFun Pro Micro Arduino chip, and then a multiplexer chip and a shift register just so I can get more inputs and outputs. Like I said, then it's optically isolated, and then over here it's just transistors and LEDs for the relay board. Going over to here where I've just got mechanical 20 amp relays. So they're 20 amp relays, only 15 amp outlets. And then that's still overkill because you got all 8 of these going into a single plug, which is probably just going to be 15 amps. I doubt you have 20 amp service, but if you have 20 amp service, still it can handle it all. Inside here there is a main on and off switch. No real reason to have that, but I had the box laying around. A lot of the stuff, like especially like the explosion-proof plug in the box, it's just stuff that I had laying around that worked. So it's very much a one-off prototype. It's not production, but it works, and it'll do what you want it to do. That's about it. I've tested it a little bit. I ran a whole bunch of power supplies and power tools and shop fans and everything, and didn't get hit, didn't get hot, didn't have any issues. The only issue I had with it is if you run a really noisy tool, like I ran a very, very cheap Harbor Freight heat gun that made a lot of noise, and it created some, even with the optical isolation, just because of how I have the wires ran in there. It created some interference the box didn't like, and it started shutting the outputs off just because it couldn't read the sensors. But I've had other fans and stuff, so clean motors, it can run clean motors. This is the dirty motors that create a lot of noise it can't run. And then things that don't create noise, like heating elements, which is what this is designed for, no issues at all. So that's about it. I guess the only other thing is the plugs themselves they're actually XLR audio plugs, so they have a little snap on them. You just push them and pull them out, and then put them back in. That's about it.